Located in the heart of the Arts District in downtown Tulsa, you'll find the Bob Dylan Center. It's 29,000 square feet, over 100,000 artifacts, but just as impressive is the creative spirit that's housed here. Bob Dylan is a man that's well known for his music, but here, visitors will learn so much more. Well, I'm here with Steve Jenkins, who has the fortune of being the director of the Bob Dylan Center, which I imagine is quite a job in and of itself. Thanks for having us out here.
It's my pleasure, and yes, it's a dream job and really a thrill to be here and be part of this project.
Well, I know if friends saw our first Road Trippin' episode in Tulsa, they saw that we highlighted the beautiful Woody Guthrie Center, which is actually right next door, and at that time, this was kind of in planning and being constructed, and now here it is in all its real, beautiful glory. How did the Bob Dylan Center and all of its archives and this history arrive in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Sure thing, because it's not an obvious spot if you think about Bob Dylan being from Hibbing, Minnesota, but Dylan himself said he really appreciates the hum of the heartland. And as he started meeting folks here when discussions began with the George Kaiser Family Foundation, when word got out that Bob Dylan, famously Private Dylan, had in fact been saving a trove of materials for 60 plus years, conversation started to see if we might in fact gather those archives here. And that's what eventually happened in 2016. This is a collection of over 100,000 artifacts.
Wow, 100,000.
Yes,
incredible.
Both physical and digital. Lots of music tracks, of course, not surprisingly, things no one's ever heard before. Photographs, home movies, films, handwritten lyrics, journals. We're able to look behind and really see the creative process at work. And of course, there's a corollary with Woody Guthrie because Dylan has spoken at great length about his love for Woody Guthrie. And so it does seem fitting that these two centers are now under one umbrella and on the same block.
You know, and I imagine a man, an artist like Bob Dylan, there is no shortage of fans out there, but that includes those people who are in the industry and in contemporaries and people right now who are creating alongside Bob Dylan. And the Bob Dylan Center looked to them to kind of help curate some of the experiences here.
Very much so. We're really fortunate to be working with luminaries in their fields, be it music, such as Elvis Costello, who has curated the jukebox for us here in the gallery. We have Joy Harjo, who we're just honored to be working with. Joy just wrapped up her third term as U.S. Poet Laureate, and Joy will be working with us as our first artist in residence over the coming years to do a number of public programs with us, and we will continue to reach out to other artists. So I think we'll have a very rich conversation going on, artistically and otherwise.
What was it that you were hoping to kind of let people know about Bob Dylan in a career, in a man that is so expansive?
I think the constantly changing nature of his artistry, not only in music, but also in visual arts. You know, this is somewhat of a lesser known aspect, but he's a very prodigious painter. He's also a metal worker. We have a beautiful gate, 16 foot tall, that Dylan created specifically for the Dylan Center in our entryway. The music might be front and center, but we did want to shed light on these other aspects of his creativity, showing Dylan's artistry in full flower. And I do hope that folks, whether they have somewhat of a passing acquaintance with Dylan, the guy who wrote Blowin' in the Wind, say, or for the diehard Dylanologists, as we refer to them, we have surprises in store here.
There's one exhibit I can't wait to learn a little bit more of, and that is really kind of a deep dive into some of his most popular songs, and that's right next door. Let's go over and learn more about it.
Absolutely.
So we've learned a little bit about the overall mission of the Bob Dylan Center, but one of the things that I am already completely fascinated with is how it's kind of broken down into digestible pieces of Bob Dylan's life and experience, and that's really what this room is all about.
Very much so. This is the Columbia Records Gallery, which consists of a couple of main components. We've got the closest thing we have to a chronology along the perimeter walls here of this gallery by the essayist and Dylan scholar Sean Wilentz that breaks down Dylan's life into 9 distinct eras. And then in the center of the gallery, we go very deep into the writing, the recording, the producing, the performing of 6 songs, such as Like a Rolling Stone or Tangled Up in Blue. But then we get perhaps a little more obscure, a song like The Man in Me. And within each of these quadrants, as you can see, we have all of these archival materials. For example, here you have Like a Rolling Stone, one of the hallmarks of Dylan's career and really of pop music and in some sense American culture in general. Here you have Dylan bringing an entirely new vocabulary to what we thought of at that time as the pop song. And Dylan, of course, famously performed this song in the mid-60s, notably at the Newport Folk Festival. So at this folk festival, he deliberately plugged in the guitar. He was suddenly playing electric. He realized this is 1965, culture is changing, society is changing. It is time to turn up the volume. And it's hard to overstate what a shocker this was for audiences at the time. Really just a pivotal moment of 60s American music and culture. So we have, for example, the leather jacket that Dylan wore at that performance. Everyone has their own idea of who Dylan is and what he's meant to all of us as listeners over these 60+ years. The idea is to, in a way, ask more questions than provide answers.
And that is why he is a legend, in fact, a living legend. This is such a beautiful place, and it tells an incredible story about a man many think they know, but probably will leave here knowing so much better.
I sure hope so.
Excellent. Steve, thanks for having us out here today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Coming up on Road Trippin', music legend Leon Russell called Tulsa home, so it's no wonder they take music so seriously. Coming up after the break, we'll show you how they're fostering the next generation of great artists.